Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nova War.
And Maximus Black.
And we are the single greatest MCs of Starcraft 2 commentary for the mid-level community. Maybe.
Most definitely.
Most def.
Wow.
Alright, so, this is another Starcraft 2 commentary, of course, and we have Dokuganryuu. We're going to call him Ryu. Possibly Ryu Hayabusa. And up in the top left position, we are looking at Hazard. Alright.
That sounds dangerous.
That does sound dangerous. So we are looking at a Protoss versus Terran match. And I'll be interested. You know what? Not a lot of people like this map. I also not a huge fan of this map, although I do like it more than some. It does, you know, it's not, I don't know, I just don't like it. I don't like the distance, but I also didn't like it when they got rid of the gold minerals, but maybe that's just because I'm a noob. You know, it'll be interesting to see what the Terran player does here on this map, because a lot of times Protoss in the early game do take a bit of advantage of those rocks and can get rid of them a little faster than a whole slew of Marines, and I will be interested to see just what goes down.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know about what rocks we're talking about, there are rocks down here right off side of their natural expansions there and there. It's actually a really effective way to not deal with all this choking. And if they have an expansion, it's a good way to bust in there and get rid of you know, the SCVs or the probes, whatever's in there. One thing that I will say is, just like in Blistering Sands, you're gonna want to put a supply depot here or pylon, and the same deal, supply depot down around this area, just so you can see if those rocks are being destroyed. Because the last thing that you want to see is a bunch of units running up the side of your base here and going after your money.
Yeah, and if you don't, like Jeff was saying, if you don't have anything to detect what's going on there at that point, they can basically make it into your main base and into your mineral line almost entirely undetected. So whether or not you put a pylon or a supply depot or something down on that second ramp area, or preferably, like he was saying, next to the rocks, you could be in trouble if you don't do that. And here we go, getting a little bit of scouting in here for the Terran.
Yeah, getting the scouting done, good. That's what I like to see. One thing that I will say here, you got a forge. Now,
that's a quick forge.
That is, and I don't know what that's going to be for unless he plans on getting a couple of cannon here. I don't really see the point in wasting money on a forge. That could have been the Cybernetics core.
Just getting his gas now.
Yeah, so I don't know if he's planning on doing some cheese maybe down here. I have no idea. I guess time will tell. But one thing that I will say, you probably should get this Cybernetics core before the forge, just to get that warp gate, you know, a lot quicker. I mean, unless you're planning on doing something with that forge, why have it there?
Yeah, exactly. You know, forge play is normally this early in the game basically related to lower level players. They tend to use it to wall up with instead of using their main buildings like the gateways, pylons, and the Cybernetics core. Like Jeff was saying, unless you're going to use it, and this goes for any building, unless you plan on using it or need it to get to another building that you essentially are going to use to build a unit with or do some sort of upgrade with, why waste the money on it? Forge play usually wants to come in much later in the game, closer to the mid-game when an upgrade is needed, unless you're doing something like a crazy upgrade push, which doesn't happen all that often with gateway units. More or less that happens with something like a Void Ray. And here we go. It looks like he's going to make a move with these 4 Zealots.
Yeah, it looks like he's actually going down towards these rocks. I like this. This is what you want to do, especially even if you only can just kill these rocks just to have that open for later on. Go ahead and do it. And especially that, I forget the name over here, Ryu, especially he doesn't have a supply depot or an SCV or anything there. He's going to have no idea that it's coming. And what is going on over here? There is a floating factory.
Interesting.
And he's just dropping it right there. Or maybe he plans on proxying some Hellions. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. Unless he goes Thor, but why would you ever build them?
Proxy Thor, there's something I have heard of.
Or tank, I have no idea. We'll have to wait to find out. And yeah, so it looks like these Zealots are going to be going up against these destructible rocks, and they will fall very quickly. In the meantime, Ryu has absolutely no idea and actually has a starport now. We may see some Banshees very soon, which could be very effective especially that there's no cannons here, even though he's got the forge. Oh, he got the forge for upgrades.
Oh, well, you know, he got it, but he built it, and then it sat there for about 3 minutes before it was actually used. If you're gonna get it to upgrade immediately. And if you're gonna do that, like essentially what you would want to do then is get an assimilator earlier than he did. He waited until after he had his cybernetics core like almost finished before he put up his first assimilator. And really, if you're going to use it for a quick upgrade, which is very good for his zealots, especially against Terran, where kiting can be a problem, get your assimilator faster and actually use the forge immediately. But here we go. It looks like we're actually going to make our way into the base, maybe to the mineral line. That would be very nice.
Yeah, I'd like to see him go right after those minerals, do some damage against all of these SCVs, and it looks like he's going right up towards these marauders, and the Banshee is out now, and the Banshee will clean up these zealots after a while. I probably would be turning around. I mean, if he runs away, the Banshees will keep up and will pick them off. So at this point, I probably would run down here and try to take out these SCVs. But it looks like he's just content with destroying those marauders. I will say though, he got a lot of valuable information there. Now knowing that the Banshees are up. And it looks like a pylon is going up here, so, oh, a couple of cannons up, so he's going to want to get, oh, look at that, putting down a robotics facility. He's seen the Banshees, he's going to want to get that observer, and, you know, that was a good/bad attack. Could have been a little bit more effective, but definitely got some vital information there.
Definitely. Anytime you know that a Banshee is coming, you have done a very good job at scouting, whether or not you meant to do it. Something else I'd like to point out is that, you know, he got rid of that supply depot. It did force Ryu to drop that extra supply on that supply depot, waste the energy instead of getting it something like a mule or even a scan out later on if he needed it. So it wasn't a complete failure like Jeff was saying. Maybe, well, I think I would agree that possibly pushing for the SCVs might have been more effective than what he did after he killed off those initial units.
Yep.
But here we go. Here comes the Banshee, and if done correctly, this could be good. But look at these cannons up in here.
Oh, yeah,
they're gonna stop that entirely.
Yeah, and now the stalkers are coming up. That was because, why are you even cloaking them at that point? No point.
To make yourself feel better.
All right, well, there goes all your money. No, but that was good. Hazard did a really good job there at you know, adapting to the situation. He knew the Banshees were coming, and did a good job at getting some stalker, putting up a couple of cannon. Don't really agree with putting up cannon here. Kind of pointless now, choking out himself so he can't get out of his base unless he destroys these rocks. But good cannon placement over this way. Got an observer now. Everything is looking pretty peachy. I do want to, and absolutely no production going on for Hazard at all. Now building a probe. Wow.
In fact, 5.
Wow, 5. Okay.
5 is apparently better than 1.
Yeah. Don't really agree with, guys. Please don't be queuing up 5 probes. That's a waste of money. Eventually, yeah, you can build the 5 probes, but only get 2 at a time and chrono that. I mean, look at all this chrono he's got going. He's not chronoing anything. He's just queuing up 5 over. Oh, now he's chronoing. But, you know, that's 150 extra minerals that could be going, you know, towards building units, getting your food up. Basically, that's just a huge waste of money. And also, I want to quickly comment about the probes. 20 and 21? Guys, step your probe game up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is... Obviously, these guys are so focused on building up their armies at this point that they've ignored most of their, you know...
well, lucky they did, because one other person, if the other guy would have just decided to keep building
yeah,
drones, that would have been it.
It would have been game over. You know, what I would like to point out here is that Ryu, seeing that he was up against somebody that was going to go nothing but Stalker, essentially, which really very logical, you know, thing for most... Protoss players to do. They like to get Blink Stalker, although he doesn't have Blink yet. He probably should at this point in the match. He's getting a good combination to go up against Stalker here. We're looking at nothing but Marauders and Banshees, which will absolutely steamroll a group of Stalker very, very easily, especially with concussive shells and stuff. It's going to be absolutely devastating. If he goes in, he really, you know, Hazard should be scouting right now. He hasn't got any information, and he's supply blocked. He hasn't got any information.
He's got an observer right
there. Yeah,
there.
but he's not doing anything with it. He hasn't got any information since that first attack, really. And all that he's doing is hurting himself, because if he went down and saw that, all he would have to do to really effectively beat Ryu at this point is to open up a couple of Stargates, get a couple of Phoenix to take care of those Banshee, and really back up those Stalker with a couple of Zealots to soak up the damage, and he would be fine. But as it stands right now, he's just sitting out in the middle of the map while Ryu is expanding. He's just sitting out in the middle of the map with about 8 Stalker, 9 Stalker, not really doing anything. Stim going up, Raven coming out. That's going to be a very useful unit here very shortly.